up. We gon' make some moves tonight, yeah, stand up. Got something to prove tonight, so stand up. We ain't gonna plan tonight, we gonna take action on our dreams and fight, alright. We ain't gonna stall, never stop. We gon' make it all till the top. We ain't gonna plan tonight, we gonna take action on our dreams and fight, alright.
Going on, folks? My name is Scott Schertzen, and joining me, as always, is Mr. Bill Akins and also Mr. Ed the Mighty Quinn, USL sports writers for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, and this is Soccer Sports Writers React. We got a lot of things on the horizon for today. We got two different stories that involve Berhalter families, one involving the Chicago Fire and one involving the Sun on the move to Europe. Going to be talking a little bit about Jack Harrison coming back to MLS, Hannes Wolf and Nico Fernandez-Mercal wanting out of MLS, and a couple other things along the horizon. So, gentlemen, how the heck are you?
Doing well, Scott.
Doing well. Cool. Glad to be talking a little soccer and a little European football.
Yeah, we're going to kick this off. Like I said, there's a lot going on right now. Going to start this one off right out of the gate. I'm calling this, is this a good move? I think this is a bit of a backfire situation, in my opinion, but I'm going to get your thoughts on it. But we have somebody right now with Hugo Cuypers being out of the Chicago Fire, requesting to leave after Robert Lewandowski signs a 2-year, $17 million per year deal to join the Chicago Fire. So for $34 million, they brought in arguably one of the greatest Premier League players of all time. But in the process, they lost a player in their prime. So let me know your thoughts on it. Either one of you want to roll first. What do you got if you got anything?
Well, the transfer I think was he went to CF Monterrey, right?
Correct, yeah.
It was a $7.5 million fee is what I read.
Yeah.
So
and
I mean,
go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, in this case here, initially it was supposed to be a great move here, because it was going to be Lewandowski on one side, Hugo Cuypers, who, by the way, leads the league in goals right now, despite only playing 11 games in the season. So 13 goals in 11 matches. And the goal for, Greg Berhalter, head coach, was to have a 4-4-2 setup with the two of them right in the front. And initially, it was great because, Cuypers gave away his number 9 jersey to Lewandowski. And then basically what ends up happening, he decides he wants out. He goes to CF Monterrey, and now you've replaced a 29-year-old in his prime with a 37-year-old legend who's never played in the United States before.
That's why the Chicago Fire can't have nice things.
I mean, honestly, what it is you have to straddle. With the MLS, you have to straddle things, right? You want to bring the names in, so you bring in the TV money, so you bring in the fans, but then you fall into this category. 37-year-old versus 29-year-old, right? A Belgian versus a Polish player. It's difficult. You're not going to get Lewandowski at 32 years old, right? Which is the biggest problem. And you're going to lose an incredible striker that's, dominating the MLS. So what do you do? Or 20, what do you do? What do you do with those two players? It's an 8-year difference. Do you want the money in the butts in the seats, or do you want to have a competitive team? I think Berhalter was kind of hamstrung by it. I'm not sure the Lewandowski moves that's great of a move. I'm really not. I mean, he's a great striker, who is a Borussia Dortmund, where he did wonderful. He didn't really do much at Barca. They weren't sad to see him go. So that should be a little bit of telling. But I mean, if he's able to compete in those top leagues, he should be able to, do fairly well in the MLS. But it to Scott's point, there goes your dream situation. Now what are you going to do?
Yep. He was at times non-existent in Barcelona. I mean,
hard to play off the bench. I mean, he didn't. I mean, he's not that good.
Right. Well, age has caught up with him. He's not the Lewandowski from, 10 years ago that was just dominant and, a superstar. Not to say he's still a superstar, but, you're trading. I mean, this is you're trading, wisdom and
notoriety, basically.
Notoriety for, youth. Or you got rid of youth explosiveness for wisdom and notoriety, basically. There you go. I'd get it. I'd get it finally, eventually.
What? Sorry, go ahead.
I'm good.
The only thing I wanted to add on this is that right now, though, the response is not a positive one. So in Fire Faithful, which is basically Chicago Fire Daily, a poll of 337 fans, almost 70% of them would have preferred Cuypers because you know what you're getting with him. Lewandowski, as a talented player as he is very expensive, and it's a huge question mark never having played here. So granted, you only had Lewandowski for another 18 months, so this does stretch it out a little bit longer. But the concern remains is that he was there through the bad times. This is a team that was third place in the East because of Cuypers. And now you roll the dice, and you know what? you came up bad, I think, at the end of the day.
And well, what if he doesn't agree with what Berhalter's philosophy is? What if it takes him too long, excuse me, to learn the system? I mean, you have to add all that in as well.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and you're going to lose production. I mean, Cuypers had 40 goals and 75 appearances, including 13 in 11 league matches. It's just been, I don't know,
It's tough. And again, and also add to it as well, his wife expressed concerns about this too, because the family has to get uprooted to the U.S. on top of that. He's never played outside of Europe. And the one thing about Europe, and I know you guys know this, is that it's basically, even if you go to a different country, it's a train ride away. Yep. Whether you're in France, whether you're in England, whether you're in, Monaco, Italy, it is a condensed train ride across it. So everything is pretty much reachable that way. Here in the U.S., I mean, you're alone on an island in Chicago, and essentially, because this is a brand new territory. You've never been down there before. Possibly you read some of the things about Chicago and some of the lesser reputable areas, I guess we'll call it, to put it delicately. What is it? I think Englewood, one of the worst streets in the United States. Yep. So there's a lot of concerns on that part from even his wife, and you guys know, happy wife, happy life. So you got to have that add to it. Was it a family decision? Yeah, it totally was. But at the same time, I think the expectation was going to be a phenomenal, dangerous 4-4-2 in the front. And now you've got 4-2-3-1 with someone who's played exactly one MLS game.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of it. I just think some of these clubs try to make a splash just to get name recognition.
Exactly.
I would have left it the way it was.
Well,
I mean, and plus the Lewandowski. I mean, Chicago's not necessarily an international city. Like I could see Lewandowski going to say, anywhere on the East Coast, up and down.
NYCFC.
Or even West Coast, LA.
Yeah.
Right. One of those, one of the LA teams, one of the New York teams, heck, even Philadelphia or DC, right? These are international cities, right? You go to Chicago. Chicago's not known for that, right? Chicago's a Midwestern city. It's known as the second city, but it doesn't have the international flair that all those other ones have. And we don't have trains here. They don't exist. Up and down the East Coast is the best you're going to get. So I did not really agree with the move.
I think to sum it up, they basically Chicago Fire chose to cash in on a 29-year-old that was basically at his peak, and you're replacing him with a obviously a legendary striker and a guy, a global icon that's just simply past his prime. So you tell me how it's going to work out.
I don't think it's going to work out well.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, remains to be seen. We've seen this before. Things have worked out. At the same time, you're dealing with a league that is not at the Premier League level. So you can see that sort of messy effect where you have a player that, is past their prime on the tail end, but now they're playing in a AAA soccer league, not even football league, AAA soccer league here. So you could put up some solid numbers there. The other question that I've got, and this is, let me know your thoughts here. Chicago is a cold city in the winter, in the fall and the winter. Do you worry about that one a little bit too?
I mean, he comes from Germany. Germany's not exactly a tropical place. So I think your most salient point is the fact that it's nothing like Europe, right? It's just you're flying everywhere. You've got to, it's a totally different kind of travel, even though they fly over there. But like you said, his wife, I mean, where's their support system? Heck, they would have been better off going to the MLS with Polish Hill in Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
The greatest concentration of Polish citizens. I guarantee I don't think it's in Chicago. I'd have to look it up. But I understand what the clubs are trying to do. They're trying to get, name recognition for the MLS, trying to move it up, as far as global leagues within, all the UEFAs, and the CONMEBOLs and all that stuff. I just don't know that this was the best move. But I mean, who else was going after Lewandowski? Anybody else in the MLS?
NYCFC could probably benefit from a player like that right now.
Yeah.
Because they have no striker. We're going to get to this in a minute. But Hannes Wolf and Nico Fernandez, who's their leading scorer, wants out.
Right.
So, I mean, Lewandowski would have been a great splash. There was some tie to Christian Pulisic, but NYCFC is not the type to do that. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. But there's a lot of other teams out there that I think probably could have benefited from someone of his caliber, you know, that wouldn't require giving up some. Also, can I point this out? Cuypers, you only got $7.5 million for him. You know, 40 goals, 75 matches, 13 goals in 11 matches, 29 years old. And that's the best you can do. You got to, I would have figured at least 12 mil minimum.
Yeah. It's safe to say Berhalter's going to build this team around Lewandowski. He's going to be the focal point, correct?
He has to.
Yeah, I'm not sure what they're doing. I mean, compare him to Casemiro. Casemiro's younger. I think that's a much better move for, you know, if they don't get dinged by it. But I'm not a huge fan of it.
Yeah. By the way, speaking of Casemiro, there's the league sent out a press release yesterday saying that there has been a deal that's in place between Inter Miami and also the LA Galaxy with regards to tampering. They had not said what the deal was. They have not said what the arrangement or the punishment was. All they said is that basically there has been an agreement in place, and that's as far as they've gotten at this point. I'm very curious to see what that ends up being, but apparently Miami is going to get nailed for tampering.
Well, that was for Casemiro, right?
Yeah, he just mentioned Casemiro just now. So
yeah, well, I mean, what does that look like? We know what it looks like in Europe. What does that look like in MLS? What's the penalty?
I don't know. In this case, here could be a draft pick. In this case, it could be. It's probably maybe you lose a DP slot, financial fine. There's a few different things that are possibly in there. Maybe you lose access to the to an international window, something like this. I'm not sure, but it's a pretty big deal because you know in MLS, Inter Miami is basically the league's darling because of Messi and everybody else.
Sure,
right.
You know, but in the end, if they get another MLS Cup on Casemiro, it's like whatever, we'll take the hit. It's like the Dodgers. Like we don't care if we're going to pay like our $180 million in luxury tax.
Yeah, they don't give a crap. Actually, Chicago has the largest concentration of Polish citizens outside of Poland, so you chose correctly.
There you go. So, all right. So remains to be seen. I will see him tomorrow night, like I said, at Yankee Stadium, because the Fire, ironically, are playing NYCFC. So I'll have a press box look at Lewandowski. I am curious about that one a little bit, but who knows what's going to happen there. Okay. Let's skip ahead a little bit. Bumping ahead. Jack Harrison is coming back to MLS. Originally, basically U.S. born, spent some time in England, came back to Massachusetts to play when he was about 14 years old, played a couple years with NYCFC, played over in Europe, most notably with Leeds, and now he's coming back to the States again.
29 years old. I mean, it's...
Yeah.
And he's joining your club, right?
No, he's joining the Revolution.
He's joining the Revolution.
Yeah.
We can cover the Reds pretty easily enough, I'm sure. But but it's interesting to see him come back to the States on this one, given the fact that this is a team right now that's frankly goal-starved. So you look at these numbers right here for the New England Revolution. 22 goals so far this season is third lowest in the East. But on the same token, 18 goals allowed is second best in the East. So they're in fourth place right now without scoring goals. What can Jack Harrison, who has 30-some goals in 200-some-odd matches with Leeds, what can someone like that do for a squad that's already in fourth place right now?
In their midfield, who's their best serviceman? I mean, who's gonna serve him up? You know, if he truly plays, is he gonna play a 9? What is he gonna do?
He's gonna probably play up front, I would think.
Okay, so who's gonna serve him the ball? That would be my first question. They have the quality in the midfield.
Right now, if I had to look at it, Carlos Gil is probably your best option at the moment because Carlos Gil, he's been with New England for a long period of time. He has history with that team. He leads the team, ironically, also in 5 goals. That would probably be my first setup. He also has no assists, but he is probably their strongest midfielder.
As I'm looking,
he has 4 assists.
I'm sorry, 4 assists, 5 goals. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong category. Derp. 5 goals, 4 assists. So that right there is your best guy. Langoni has also 6 assists. That's not too bad in its own right.
Yeah.
But he's more.
I mean, with a team that needs a scoring punch, how can you do any worse, right? I mean, there's no way you're getting a youth, a guy who's played in the States, used to it. Again, this is a great move. What's his salary like? What kind of compensation is he?
It's apparently only like $2 million, so it wasn't much.
Really?
I think it's unbelievable when you look at their scoring. The fact that they're at 4th place, man.
Good defense, though. Defense, though,
Yeah.
That's
Defense wins
wins
championships.
on that one.
Yeah.
Only $2 million, really. Wow.
I'm looking to find out here. Yeah, DP. I thought I saw $2 million at some point. Could be wrong on that, but let me verify that one as I go along. But
Yeah.
it's like I said, for them, it's a really, really good deal.
That is a great deal. He was in Leeds. He played at Everton and Fiorentina.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not bad.
Yeah, we're in Italy right now. I'm sorry,
Okay.
no, $4.68 million a year is the annual salary, which isn't bad in its own right either.
No, not at all.
So right now, he's actually second overall. Carlos Gil makes just under $5 million. He does take him a DP slot, but at the same time, if you have someone like this, and again, he has MLS experience. He has experience in the Massachusetts area from his childhood. So it's a bit of a homecoming for him. And from a fan ticket perspective, it's like, oh, one of our own came back. So it could be added ticket sales for Foxborough.
And what does that say for the league? Where he's 29 years old, probably had numerous opportunities, and he chooses to come to the MLS. That's a positive for the league, right?
That's probably, in some ways, I think that's bigger than Lewandowski because it's someone who's in his prime.
Right.
You know, I mean, the MLS, throughout Europe is known as the retirement league. Because basically, the phrases that I typically see is MLS is shit. MLS is a retirement league. MLS is not football. But here you have an opportunity to have someone make an impact who's not even 30 yet. Mm-hmm. And I think that adds a little bit versus the over-the-hill types like Lewandowski, Messi, or, a lot of them, Suarez. Players like this that actually have been around the block a little bit.
Right. I mean, globally, I think isn't the league like 14th globally?
No, they're in the top 10.
They're considered top 10 now. Yeah.
Yeah, they're in top 10 now. Yeah.
There you go.
So, and that all happened when Messi signed, I believe. So
Messi on one side, Son on the other, on opposite coasts.
Yeah, going there.
And
I'm surprised.
Son obviously being younger, but yeah, it's a huge one.
I'm surprised Cristiano is not tired of Saudi and looking over here.
Well, getting paid a ton of money.
The Saudis are very slowly taking over the world. Them and China are the new powerhouses, basically.
Well, I mean, money buys you everything, but I mean, I've honestly, I think Bill has too. I've tried to watch those domestic games in Saudi. Their domestic players are so god awful; it's almost impossible to watch. It's like whatever Europeans or whatever internationals you have versus whatever internationals they have, and that's it. I mean, it's
like anything in
the atmosphere is terrible.
Yeah,
it's like not even it's like crickets, So,
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think the MLS slowly can get better. The fact of the matter is the way they do their business, though. I mean, to get an MLS franchise, it's like $750 million.
Well, I'm going to say this too, Ed. We've talked about this on the show a few weeks ago, Scott. They don't market themselves well enough. I mean, everybody, in order to watch the MLS, you got to have Apple TV, okay? Which is a problem because not a lot of people. Some people don't even know what even Apple TV is.
It's that Ted Lasso thing, I think, right?
Yeah.
Well, Severance is on there.
Yeah, I mean, my point is just imagine if ESPN had a contract with them. Just imagine if FS1
ESPN after dropping Ravish.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that there's not that much exposure. To the MLS, and it's by their own doing. It was a money grab for them, to be an Apple TV, and that's all they care about. I've said it before. They don't care about growing the sport. It's very obvious. They don't market it well. There's no MLS channel on Sirius XM. They don't have anything. I mean, they do a piss poor job of marketing the league. They really do. They do a piss poor job of marketing the league.
Yeah,
well, that was the general.
There's more issues to it, though. They should focus on
exposure's a number one thing because nobody in this country, aside from rabid soccer fans like we are, nobody knows anything about the MLS. Nobody, and that's because of them, and that's because of them not exposing it and keeping it on Apple freaking TV, to where you got to have a subscription to watch it.
Keeping in mind that deal was, well, initially it was $250 million for 10 years, which equated to $25 million a year, which was divvied up between not just every single team, but the league as well. So
Right.
each team got less than $1 million on that deal per year, which
Well,
is
how-
non-money. And for Apple TV, and this is Joe Tollison talking, by the way. Apple itself makes about, on average, over a third of $1 trillion yearly. $25 million, is the equivalent of like $15 for us.
Yeah.
Because of how much bank they literally draw in. And for them, it was a great audition because they got Formula One, they've got baseball. They wanted it as an audition tape. They got what they got. And the deal is now through 2029. So you're stuck with it. However, here's the other side of it. I'll get off my soapbox with this one, I promise. NWSL is also on regular TV. USL is on regular TV. Now I'm going to use the NWSL at this point because you have the cream of the crop right now in women's soccer playing on national TV. Just like you guys had the Riverhounds set up on the CBS the other day. I got to talk to Matt because I wanted to get the TV ratings on that. But you have NWSL on national television. You have Women's World Cup next year in Brazil, and the women's team is ranked second overall. So where the U.S. men's team was ranked about 16th, they're second. So there is a bona fide legitimate shot of winning a World Cup trophy with that squad. So everything points to NWSL being the face of soccer in the U.S. right now.
Yeah. And here's the other thing. You're not going to have baseball next year.
Also true.
So who's going to be, you know what I mean? If I'm in the MLS, I'm trying to slide in there and gain viewers because they're not going to be watching baseball. What are they going to be watching? Hey, why don't you try, look at the MLS, try the MLS.
I mean, they do have games on Fox. It's not like they don't have a presence.
Yeah, but
very
they're
rarely,
on a Friday night
very
thing.
rarely. Yeah, it's very rarely. I set my DVR to record the MLS, and I go in there and I have like 4 games. So
they get 34 matches a year, plus they have the cup and some of the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's their own fault they took a bite of the apple, literally.
Well,
and it came back to bite them in the ass. But they took a shot. So and it'll please. I mean, believe me, when that contract comes up, every network's going to bid on it because in 29, what do you have in 30? You have the World Cup. They're all going to want to have that. They're all going to want to build that base a year before. This contract's going to go for ridiculous amounts of money. My problem with the MLS is they need to develop more American talent. It's fantastic if these Europeans come over, but if they just honed our American talent, and that was the majority of the teams, I think that would be fantastic because it would make our country better soccer, nation.
But we don't focus on it. We don't focus on it.
Right.
We don't focus. I mean, I say it all the time. It's always soccer in this country is a bridge sport, right?
Yeah.
It's kids play it at a young age. Oh, well, now you can play football. Okay, well, I'm going to play football now. It's a bridge sport. There's not a lot of, I look at like where I grew up, you could play soccer till about 10. And then after that, there was no leagues. There was nothing. We didn't have soccer in high school, so
that's the problem regionally, because if you grew up in the DC area,
correct. Yeah, that's different. These large metropolitan areas, yes, they've had soccer programs for years. Yeah. But these other outlying, places, they don't have anything.
Yeah, and that goes to the distribution and the growth of the sport. I mean, the most players of any country, of any city in the world, come from that small little town in Uruguay, right? And Montefiore. I mean, that's where the most players. It's over 150 of them that play in the World Cup. But every little town you look at, that's why Iceland got better. They put 250 pitches across that small country, and you see it here. Like all the fields around here are finally going to that next gen turf because the weather here is terrible. And you can't, having coached it at the youth level, we got rained out constantly. We got rained out for practice. It's just the infrastructure has to be there for us to succeed. And for some, but you look at Odell Beckham Jr., great, to your point, Billy, 12 or 13 years old and phenomenal soccer player. U.S. Soccer wanted him to commit. He's like, nah, I'm going to play football.
I'm going to play football. Right. Yeah. You see that a lot.
Yeah.
Back with the Giants now.
Yeah. You look at Antonio Freeman's child. I mean, his dad was a Super Bowl winning wide receiver. And what did he choose?
Soccer.
He chose soccer. Yeah. So.
Yep.
Well, the other side of it is here in the U.S., MLS Next Pro has a stranglehold on the youth development program. And there's legal aspects of it. Whereas, say, for example, NWSL, the way the system works is they can recruit very easily out of high school and college. MLS Next Pro on the MLS side of things makes that much more difficult to start drafting and pulling out of college talent. So if you don't join a youth program at the age of 14 with a specific team, chances are you'll never go to the MLS. And as a result, you lose the talent there. In Europe, however, the way the system is the teams also themselves pay for everything, like the kits and the padding and everything like this. You pay insurance in case you get injured. Okay, fine. But I talked to someone the other day when I posted it on Facebook, their kid had the opportunity here in the States to go to a travel team. It was going to be $3,200 a year. And she's like, I can't afford that. I got 3 kids. So there you go. Problem lost. And that's what Zlatan talked about.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, I have twins. I ran into the same thing with travel soccer. It was double what everybody else was doing. And I'm like, this is getting expensive.
Yeah.
And they want more and more from the parents. They want, they want all you got to pay all this money. Plus we want you to volunteer too. We want you to volunteer, and
then I'm
just saying,
hotels.
Yeah. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that's, I ran into that as well,
Plus we need to get away from the model of the daddy coaching, right? Because the daddy coaching.
Exactly.
I mean, I coached my sons. If they weren't up, they came off the pitch. I'm sorry.
Right.
That they just did. And they'll tell you today. I mean, you got to perform, and also, usually these guys just choose the biggest kids. Have nothing. Messi would never have been Messi if he was born in America. Never would have been. Too small. They would have ignored him. Doesn't matter what his talent is. They would have completely ignored him. He would never have been Messi.
Well,
but he's
his father. Well, you go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's it. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say his father is the one that, he would not take no for an answer. He was the one that continued to market him and just flooded, the scouting and with, just he was continuing. Yeah. That's what got him where he was at.
Yep.
Now, granted, he has talent off the charts.
Yeah.
But a lot of scouts overlooked him just for that reason.
Yeah. No kidding.
There was a saying this is a saying I heard from 20 years ago. It said the greatest golfer in the world is not Tiger Woods. Not the greatest basketball player right now is not LeBron James. It's the one that was told no and believed it.
Yep.
Right. And that's something that's always stuck with me ever since like 2005.
Yeah. I remember a story. I was playing youth soccer in the DC area, and I was very good as a youngster, very, very good. And I remember sitting on my grandfather's lap, right? He lived in Philly, old Irish guy, sat on his lap. He said to a young Eddie, what do you want to be when you grow up? I said, I want to be a professional soccer player. He said, you're not good enough. I'm like, this MFer, right? We took him to the train station, Union Station, on a Friday. That Saturday, I was so angry. I scored a hat trick in the first 10 minutes of the game. I was so angry, But you're right. And then we, I fell into the 8 kids, I got offers to do that, but parents couldn't afford it. And that's just the way, it was even back then.
That's like I said, the system is designed for profit in the moment, not growth in the long term.
Exactly. And that's why we're always going to, even if you look at other sports too, we're not going to be the number 1 basketball team. I hate to tell you, boys. France is so far ahead of us because they teach people how to play basketball.
Fundamentals. They teach fundamentals.
But it used to be in the 80s and 90s, the European Basketball Association, UEFA basketball, used to be like the MLS, right? They were desperate to get 1 or 2 Americans, and then, oh my God, they were set, right? Now, with the adding of the Benetton, the famous Benetton Academy, who produced Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, and all these other stars, they don't even want Americans because they have 0 fundamentals. 0.
Right. They can't coach them.
Right.
They're not even coachable.
Correct. So, and I think that we could learn from our lessons, but we never will because we have so many other sports and we just don't care.
Basically, yeah.
What it boils down to.
But you know what? We keep plugging along on our side of it. And if it's any consolation, Stream Punk gets a lot of good credibility, notoriety, because no one else is paying attention to it.
Right.
Well, and
I gotta look at it from this perspective.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
The non-soccer fan, I want to put my head through a wall when I hear them say, it's just too complicated for me to understand. What's so complicated about kicking a ball into a net to score points? Please tell me.
Well, to be fair, the offside was complicated, but at the same time, people also don't want to learn new things. That's why it's an easy way out.
Exactly. That's my point.
That's laziness versus growth. But,
Right.
but I can deep dive humanity any day, any week.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, let's pop on to the team that I cover at this point and the challenges that I've been seeing on this side of the fence. But your leading goal scorer and one of your chief assistant guys wants out. So Nico Fernandez Mercado has announced that he wants to be transferred. Hannes Wolf wants to be transferred. Nico, NYCFC turned down an $18 million deal for the leading scorer who picked up another goal the other day. Granted, it's a PK, but has been the stabilizing force for that club ever since Alonso Martinez went down to an ACL injury playing for Costa Rica. So the question that I've got right now is these two guys want out. And there's a lot of concerns on this side. Kai Trewin and also Aiden O'Neill, the two Aussies, are out with surgery. Maxi Morales is out for possibly the end of his career from an ACL injury. I watched that happen live. That was brutal to watch. Matt Freese is getting booed every time he touches the ball because of that gaffe that happened in Belgium. I mean, honestly, it is a mess and a half right now. And even though the team won 2-1 the other day against Columbus, there's a lot of questions with this squad right now. And it'll be very interesting to see what they do against Chicago tomorrow, because Chicago, with or without Lewandowski, is a strong team.
Right. And you said, what was they were offered 17 million, you said?
18 million.
And the club said no.
And they rejected it. Yep.
Why? I mean, you look at Nottingham Forest right now, who's being gutted. They're getting hundreds of millions of dollars.
And we don't even know the club. It was an unnamed club. We don't even know who the club was. So
he has been tied to transfer rumors for a while, because he was leading the league in goals for a bit. He's, like I said, he's at the top of the charts. So it's going to draw a lot of attention. And he's young too. He's not even 30. So there's a lot of potential with someone like him. But I think they're trying to get more in the range of 22 to 23 was what I was hearing.
Wow. I think if you're an MLS club, you have to take that, right?
Yeah, I think so. Cucho Hernandez got, I think, 17 or 18.
Right. I mean, it also adds credibility to it because they're offering that kind of money.
Sure.
Which I think is good. But where else would they go if not for a transfer? Where else would they go? Like you can't let them go for free, right?
Exactly.
So
see, every sport deals with that. It's like, do you trade him or do you wait? No, test free agency. But
right. I mean, look at the biggest clubs over there. Man United let Ronaldo go. I mean, they do it all the time. They lost what's his name? Gordon. He left. Nottingham. I mean, they're losing. Aston Villa lost. What's his name? I mean, that was a ridiculous contract. He got $117 million transfer or pound transfer. That's crazy. I don't know. What do you think? I say you let him go. You have to.
This is still a developmental league versus versus Europe. And if he wants out, I mean, if you want my honest opinion, what I think it really is, and this is not going to be a popular opinion, and I will probably catch shit for it, but screw it anyway. I think Coach Pascal Janssen's approach is very. I'm not going to say Bill Belichick-like, but it is a very tough system. And the way Ronnie Dylo was previously, the way Nick Cushing was a little bit more of, the uncle who believes in you, tells you you're doing great, and this is that stern military cop father kind of a thing. Right. Even when James Sands came back, to the club after, basically playing in Europe, he's like, Pascal Janssen is very tough, but fair. And that was something he never said about Cushing. He never said about Dyla. These guys that, played with a little bit of I don't know, I'm going to call it like, a criticism, but I believe in you kind of a thing. Here, it's like, you fucked up, fix it. Even with Matt Freese. I mean, Matt's taking so much abuse right now because of, the booing that he's getting for that one issue with Belgium. And the U.S. team was never going to win that match anyway. Forget the fact that it happened. But, he's like, we support him, but he's going to have to figure this out on his own. And it was just like that kind of a brusque thing. If there's booing tomorrow, if NYCFC boos Matt Freese, I'm going to ask Pascal Janssen probably about that, to maybe have him say something to the fans to tell them to back the hell off. Because that pisses me off because we're old enough to remember Bill Buckner. So we remember what that happened, what that was like. This is the new Buckner. My wife said it. This is the new Buckner, and she's dead right. And I got to know how long this is going to go on for.
How about?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I thought you were done.
My last thing on this was just the fact that I'm sorry, I'm soapboxing. Is that other players are looking at this and thinking, this is our star goalkeeper who started. He made one mistake, and this is what they're doing to him. Do I really want to go to that environment?
It's like '94 Baggio, right?
Roberto Baggio.
Baggio, whatever.
Yeah.
It's my
No,
Yinzer.
I have a different take on Freeze. I'm sorry, I really do.
Okay.
I think that game is winnable with a Jordan Pickford type goalie. I mean, he just was not aggressive. And the way we used to teach our goaltenders is see ball, get ball. On those two crosses, he could. And I've seen all the goalies go up and contend in the air. He had a chance. He's athletic enough. He's good enough to do it. I think he should have been more aggressive. The kick in the ground, whatever, it happens. And Lukaku is simply an empty net goal. Who the hell gives a shit? But to that point, I mean, he could have affected those two crosses. He absolutely could have. That's my biggest beat, is that they're not teaching him to be aggressive enough. Tim Howard, is more aggressive, and we don't have that keeper on our team. And do I think it's his fault? No, it's not his fault. But I wish he were more aggressive. I really do. I wish they contended more in the air, and I wish they had a true, be a disruptor. He's talented enough to do it. We've seen it before. That's what I don't get. I don't understand why they all, and that's not just him. The entire team hesitated. But I think, they got to get these goalies being more aggressive. I don't know how he is at NYFC. Is he somebody that comes out? Is he, is he set back? I don't watch enough NYFC to know.
He's been trained to become much more aggressive. Initially, when he was with the Philadelphia Union, he played back. But he grew up in high school as a midfielder, so he knows to play forward and learned that system here. So even on that breakaway, he did play forward, and he did come out aggressively to lower decrease the angle on it, which is the right move. Sure. He just gaffed it by doing a Young Hoku move for the Giants, by hitting dirt on that one, obviously. But the question that I had was, what led to a breakaway that caused that in the first place?
No doubt.
No doubt. Complete left.
Yeah.
I mean, the team only had one shot on goal in 81 minutes.
Right.
It was the first time they played a team that was in the top 20. In this case, not even in the top 10.
Right. But I mean, I'm sorry. This team has more than enough talent to compete and beat. The biggest problem was they got distracted. I never would have played Fell and Balogun. I just wouldn't have. I would have put in Haji Wright. I don't care what anybody says. I would have put in Haji Wright. He's 6'6". They would have had much better against the taller. I don't think Belgium is all that. I think they could easily compete. I really do. I don't think they're far away. And you're right. The defense, everything broke down for whatever reason.
Well,
and here's the thing: is they play against these players week in and week out in the Premier League. There's no way Jared Robinson should have been at all intimidated by Trossard. He plays against them all the time at Arsenal. I mean, it's ridiculous. They see these guys twice a year. They gave Belgium way too much credit for being good, and they're aging stars. They could have easily have been more competitive in that game. But you're right; it's a whole team effort. I just wish we teach our goaltenders far more aggressiveness, because it's like a baseball analogy, right? I'm not going to look at the third strike. If I think I can hit it, I'm going to try to swing. I'm not going to leave anything I have in my bag. When it comes down to it, I just want that's just my soapbox. Go ahead, Billy.
Well, I mean, the gaff came early in the second half, and at that time Belgium was up 2-1, so you were just looking to get the equalizer, and it was, to me, that was like the deflating. They go up 3-1 early in the second half, and to me it was just like, what, they're not coming back from this. So that gaff it came at a bad time, and I think it really sealed the game.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you that they probably more than likely wouldn't have won. Who knows? But you're down 2-1 early in the start of the second half. You had a chance maybe to get the equalizer, and you give up a bad goal.
Yeah, but also that's the point. Why were they allowing players to have time and space to do those crosses?
Well, absolutely. It was a complete and total breakdown on defense. Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I agree. But he comes out like that. You have to, and I agree. And you have to be more aggressive. If you're going to come out like that, you better have all aggression, and you better unleash fury. And you better not hesitate at all. If you hesitate, and that's what he did. Yeah, you hesitate, and it's going to cost you, and it did. Yeah. So,
well, like I said, it's interesting what's going on here. But as far as the U.S. men's national team, like I said, you are what your ranking is, essentially. Yeah. They were 16th at that time, facing a 9 team. The problem is the fact that it was on an international stage, 30 million people watching. Again, Buckner. Nobody remembers Calvin Schiraldi or Bob Stanley, who gave up the 2 runs leading up to that. They remember the one moment there, and then the following death threats that literally Buckner got that forced him to get traded to California. Yeah. I think this will blow over for Freeze, but for Freeze, who has never been like vilified ever, and really, I think never really took this kind of a abuse before.
Yeah,
And I think I think if you've been through it, you get it. But if you haven't been through it, you don't know how debilitating it can be. I actually have some experience there, so I understand it to a degree of what it can do to your psyche. Don't ever read the comments. But in his case, it's his first real big test, and where he goes from here remains to be seen. But I mean, even like I said, even Columbus hadn't let it go the other day.
Yeah, your point is I mean, where's your gaffer? Where's the manager? Step up.
Mm-hmm.
This is your player. This is your family. Step up. Say, no, I think it's ridiculous. I think it's the immature understanding of the game of soccer in America that's causing this booing. Something along the lines of that, right? You have to protect your players because it's more important now. Physically, we've understood that for years. But the number one most important thing now is exactly what you're talking about is mental health, right? Doesn't matter if you're making $50 million a year. You have to take care of their mental health as priority number one, right? Because it's hidden. I mean, Freeze could be just, haha, they're booing me, but who knows what he's like at home? Who knows what he's like driving home?
I suspect I know.
Yeah,
having worked with him for 4 years, I got an instinct on this one. I may be wrong, but my instinct is I think is pretty close to accurate.
Yeah, I think you should ask the coach. I can't wait till you do.
Yeah.
But I want to see what the fans do tomorrow.
If I was him,
game there, I want to see how they react the first time he touches that ball.
What time is that game?
7:30.
Darn it, it's running concurrently.
If I was him, I would take the Mike Gundy approach. You want to come at me? Come at me. I could take it. I'm 40.
Right. I'm a man.
I'm a man.
He's a little more passive, and I think that's where this is challenges because it's like that one always popular kid that suddenly basically gets shit on, and you don't know how to handle it. That's kind of.
I mean, hey, you want a coach that has your back and has the balls to step up and say, "Hey, a-holes, stop booing them." Okay.
Yeah.
Stop it.
They're also
that's
passive.
what I might have to ask Pascal Janssen tomorrow night, depending.
Yeah.
So I'll see what the fans do, but it's been in the back of my mind. Yeah. All right. So we got one more big topic here. Speaking of Berhalter, we had the dad. Now we're talking about the son. But Sebastian Berhalter is on his way over to Europe now. I know this is something you guys wanted to talk a little bit about here. I think this is a $2 million deal. But
Middlesbrough,
U.S. men's national team.
I mean, this goes back to what Jurgen Klinsmann said. He wanted them all to go to Europe and play. I mean, to get better, you have to play against the best, right? That's why Europeans come here to play hockey and basketball. So if you want to be the best, you got to go to the best leagues. And I think it's a great move for him.
Let me ask this question here. This is a team right now in Vancouver that's in danger of moving. There's been some concerns about the future of the Whitecaps over there. Do you think this move actually can hurt that team and their chances to stay put?
It goes back to the question: do people root for the jersey, or do they root for the person that's in the jersey?
Yeah. Early response from people in Vancouver is they're very big,
and I think a lot of
passionate Whitecaps fans. It's almost Canuck territory.
Oh wow, yeah. I mean, where would they move though? I mean, what
I'm hearing Vegas.
Oh God,
good Lord.
That's what I said. Because everything's
here we go again.
Well, I mean, they have the infrastructure. They have the stadium already. It's
I know, but it's like we can't have nice things. Vegas keeps taking it.
I know,
the A's went, the Raiders went.
It's the entertainment dollar, right?
Yeah.
I mean, is the entertainment dollar great there? Do they have money to burn? And the answer is yes. People go there because they have money. That's where they benefit. They benefit from foreign travel and domestic travel. That's why they're able to pack these venues. I don't think it's going to hurt him for one player. I think it's better for his development than it is for the development because the MLS wants money. So piss on the MLS. I'd rather see him go into the best league in the world, the number one league in the world, and play against the best players.
Well, and he's going to be with his close friend too, Aiden Morris. I know those two are really good friends, and Aiden Morris plays for Middlesbrough, former Columbus Crew midfielder.
Yeah.
And it's ironic in this case. Go ahead. Sorry, please. Sorry.
I'm just gonna last word. I'm just gonna say I'm not ever on the MLS side. because the way they're doing their money. I'd rather see him grow. Go ahead.
Right, and I'm with you. I'm with you. MLS, I never side with them because they do things the wrong way, and they're their own worst enemy. So they got nobody to blame but themselves when it comes to some of this stuff.
What's funny about this though is that his father also played in Europe as well. He played with Crystal Palace. He managed in Sweden for a while. So I'm sure when this thing came up, Sebastian was talking to his father about all this to, basically see what the determination is going to be. So it's interesting the fact that he has someone like that he can really pick the brain of and be like, what do we do here? Probably this was mapped out at youth, but still when it shows up in your face as a present versus a future thing, it's nice to have someone like that to be like, Dad, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great point.
Yeah. But this was tied back to the World Cup that this is probably going to happen, but it's official, but the response for the most part in Vancouver is, hey, Ryan Reynolds, you're the most famous Canadian we have right now. And you want to bring a baseball team here. How about you save our soccer team instead? That has literally been the response to Ryan Reynolds himself. And Reynolds knows jack shit about baseball. I've seen that firsthand. He didn't know who was even playing in the World Series when the Yankees were playing the Dodgers. He knew nothing about it. CFL, he's great. The Argonauts, he can talk for a week and a half. But it was kind of funny because, he didn't know shit about baseball, but he's trying to bring a baseball team over there. So,
but do you think the fact the way the MLS is designed is why it's not getting other than Will Ferrell, it's not getting that primetime Hollywood talent. You look over there. They bought Wrexham for £2 million, right? It's now worth almost £300 million. That's why Tom Brady. Yeah, Tom Brady. That's why you have J.J. Watt. All the American owners of the Premier League.
Johnson, Grant Hill.
Yeah.
Stan Kroenke.
I think with either Houston or Austin. I forget which. I think it's Austin.
Yeah. But I'm saying, it's the way it's structured. You can't afford that. There's just no way. They couldn't afford to buy it. They couldn't afford to buy an MLS franchise and keep it in Canada. There's no way. It's $750 million.
Yeah.
There's no way they're doing that the way they did it in Wrexham.
The return isn't there. Yeah. And it's funny because I get offers for some of the smaller European clubs in like Ireland or Scotland, and the amount that they're asking for to be owners of it, it's like, we could actually do this.
Yeah.
And I look at it, it's like, do I want to become part owner of a team in Ireland?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. It's always on Facebook.
You see them too. Yeah. But you look at these numbers and I'm kind of like, I've talked to the owners of some of these teams. And I'm like, so could we link ownership of the team to the company?
Ooh.
Yeah.
You probably could.
I haven't thought about
probably
it.
could.
I thought
You
about
probably
this
could.
with football here. I thought about it with the X League, the Japanese American Football League. I've thought of it with them as well.
And then you'd have buku tax write-offs.
Well, then the thing is also you could offer to all the people who contribute. Hell, I'm a part owner of the Packers. I would put into any European.
You're part of that group. Nice.
Yeah. Right, but I'm saying I would put into any one of those. I tried the one that Bill. It was the one in Ireland. The one that Bill. I tried to do it. It was so freaking complicated to do it with the link they gave. It's so much easier just to call them and say, "How much money do you want?" I would have invested a couple $1,000. Why not? It's incredible.
Yeah, it wasn't that much at all.
No,
it wasn't that much at all.
It wasn't as much as I paid for the freaking Green Bay Packers.
Right.
But yeah, like I said, it's one of those things that I've thought about in the back of my mind a little bit. It's like, do we yeah. This is why basically the sponsorship thing and all that kind of stuff is happening. But I'd rather have the company pay for it than myself.
Can you imagine Stream Punk Entertainment on a European jersey?
Oh,
that would vault you to the ethers.
Yeah.
We actually are getting our stuff on like some kids' jerseys actually for like $75.
No kidding, that's awesome.
I haven't talked about that. I'll talk about that probably off camera. But there's a couple of soccer, like kids soccer teams that are like, for $75 you can get your logo on the jersey, and I'm like, okay,
Hey man,
but between that and the Frontier League, and all this, or whatever they're called, Frontier League's calling itself next year. There's a few things in the pipeline like that, but
cool.
but that's that's another conversation for another time. But I've thought about it.
Very cool.
I think Robin would be happy with it. She's like, do we get to go and cheer the team in person? I'm like, yeah. We're owners of the team. Why the hell not?
Exactly. Be very, very cool.
So, but anyway, so that's the game plan. Anything else, gentlemen?
I think we're good.
Cool. All right. So I appreciate the time as always. I love this conversation. This was great. Could go longer, but I think we'll respect time a little bit here. But anyway, I'm Scott Churchson. That is Mr. Bill Akins for USL Sports Writer. And also Ed, the Mighty Quinn. By the way, the Mighty Quinn is a reference to something that, some of the kids under 30 probably won't get, but also USL Sports Writer in this case here. So you see our content comes from them, don't come from me. So thank you for that. Also, we'll point out one final coincidence there. That team never won a title until those two started covering the team. Just pointing that out there. They never won a title. They never went to the finals until they started covering it. Maybe there's something to that. But anyway, I'm Scott. This is Stream Punk Soccer. Thanks as always for tuning in. Appreciate the time. Stay awesome.